Hello, Golden State Warriors fan. We're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates. First of all, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It's crucial for you to stay informed with the news daily. Without further ado, let's get to the news. In the ever-evolving landscape of the NBA, whispers have started echoing through the corridors of the league. Whispers that Paul George, the silky smooth two-way star of the Los Angeles Clippers, might be on his way to the Golden State Warriors. It sounds like something out of a dream for Warriors fans and a nightmare for the rest of the league. But multiple insiders have begun stirring the pot with subtle suggestions and speculative hints. It's the type of rumor that doesn't just come out of thin air. There's a rhythm to these kinds of NBA rumors. They start slow, build momentum, and suddenly take on a life of their own. And if there's one franchise that's never been afraid to swing big when the stakes are high, it's the Warriors. They've done it before with Kevin Durant. They flirted with it when Durant was rumored to come back. And now, with their championship window slowly creeping downward, adding a player like Paul George might be the jolt they need. But how would such a move even work? And more importantly, is there smoke without fire? Or are the Warriors really laying the groundwork for another league-shaking mega move? Paul George is no stranger to trade rumors. Since his Indiana days, his name has always floated around in off-season chatter. But this one feels different. This isn't a mid-market team trying to snag a star or rebuild in disguise. This is the Golden State Warriors, a team with pedigree, star power, and ambition. And the context here is everything. Klay Thompson's departure has left a void, not just in terms of points and defense, but in identity. The Splash Brothers are no more. The dynasty that once seemed bulletproof now feels mortal. And with Stephen Curry entering the twilight of his prime, the Warriors know that time is not their ally. Paul George, a perennial all-star and arguably one of the smoothest wings in the league, represents more than just a replacement. He represents evolution, a new chapter, the kind of move that signals to the rest of the league: we're not done. It's early and no trade has been finalized, but the rumors swirling around the Bay Area are getting louder. The fans are starting to believe. And when the fans start to believe, front offices start to listen. Now, let's talk fit, because fit is everything in Golden State. Paul George isn't just a scorer. He's an elite perimeter defender, a deadly shooter off the catch, and a surprisingly underrated playmaker. Imagine him alongside Steph Curry and Draymond Green. The possibilities are endless. Steve Kerr's motion-heavy offense would give George the freedom he's craved. And defensively, he could bring back that terrifying switch-everything identity that once made the Warriors a juggernaut. He's not a ball-dominant player, which means he wouldn't step on Steph's toes. Instead, he could thrive in off-ball movement, cuts, and opportunistic isolations. His presence would also take pressure off Andrew Wiggins, who has been asked to do too much in recent seasons. And if the Warriors could somehow keep Wiggins in a potential deal, suddenly they're rolling out a lineup that's long, switchable, and deadly from deep. Add in the youthful flashes of Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, and you're looking at a team that could blend experience with upside. The big question is, what would it cost? Because you don't get a player like Paul George without giving up something or someone big. Here's where things get spicy. Any deal for Paul George would likely have to involve a combination of young talent and salaries to match. The name that keeps coming up? Andrew Wiggins. It makes sense financially and positionally. Wiggins' contract closely aligns with George's, and his defensive prowess has always intrigued teams. Throw in a promising young piece like Moses Moody or even Kuminga, and the Clippers might listen. But would the Warriors be willing to go that far? They've been protective of Kuminga, believing he could blossom into a star. However, timelines matter. Stephen Curry doesn't have 5 more years to wait for Kuminga to become that guy. And while the Clippers might be wary of trading George to a Western Conference rival, they're also at a crossroads. Kawhi Leonard's health is a perpetual mystery, and they're moving into a new arena next season. Do they blow it up? Do they retool? If they decide to move George, the Warriors could make the strongest offer, especially if other contenders hesitate. No one knows for sure what's happening behind the scenes, but every day the rumors gain a little more traction. What's particularly intriguing about this entire situation is Paul George's recent silence. Normally active and expressive during off seasons, he's been uncharacteristically quiet this time. No cryptic tweets, no podcast hints, nothing. It's almost like he's waiting for something to fall into place. Maybe it's just coincidence. Or maybe, just maybe, talks are happening behind closed doors and George is playing it smart. The NBA offseason is often like a high-stakes poker game. You don't show your cards until the pot is big enough. And let's not forget, George has a player option. He holds some leverage here. If he wants out, he can simply tell the Clippers he won't re-sign, forcing their hand. The Warriors know this. Other teams know this, but Golden State might be the only franchise with the mix of desperation, championship pedigree, and assets to make a bold move now. And if they sense even a sliver of willingness from George, they'll pounce. Because this isn't just about next season. It's about legacy. Steph wants one more ring. The Bay wants one more parade. And George could be the missing piece. Let's rewind to 2016 for a moment. Remember the Durant signing? No one saw it coming. Not until it happened. That's the Warriors style. They move in silence, strike with precision, and rarely show their hand. This Paul George situation feels eerily similar. It starts with whispers. Then someone sees a Warriors exec in LA. Then George is spotted in the Bay Area. Suddenly it snowballs. NBA insiders begin dropping breadcrumbs. There's interest. Talks are preliminary. Nothing imminent, but keep an eye on it. That's how these things always go. And right now the pattern is unfolding again. The Warriors haven't confirmed anything. The Clippers are staying quiet. George's camp has gone dark. And yet everyone in league circles is talking. It's a rumor too big to ignore. Whether it's fan fiction or front office reality remains to be seen. But history tells us that when smoke starts rising in the Bay Area, there's often fire not far behind. And this one has all the makings of a classic Warriors coup. Calculated, game-changing, and destined to shake the NBA to its core. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The most fascinating part of all this is how the move would reshape the Western Conference. Think about it. The Nuggets are still dangerous. The Timberwolves are rising. The Lakers are trying to retool. And the Thunder, they're coming fast. The Warriors, once the undisputed kings, now find themselves in the thick of a brutal arms race. Adding Paul George doesn't just make them better. It reestablishes them as true contenders. With George, Steph, Draymond, and possibly Wiggins, or Kuminga, the Warriors would instantly have one of the most versatile lineups in the league. That's the kind of team that could go toe-to-toe with Jokic, match up with Luka, and still have the firepower to drop 130 on any given night. And you better believe the league is watching. Execs from coast to coast are dialing into this rumor, trying to gauge how serious it is. Because if George moves to Golden State, it changes everything. Not just for this year, but for the next 3. It forces every team in the West to adjust their plans. And in this league, that kind of power shift doesn't happen often. But when it does, it's unforgettable. Of course, not everyone is thrilled about the idea. There are voices, both inside and outside the Warriors ecosystem, who question the wisdom of such a move. George is 34. He has a history of injuries. His playoff track record is inconsistent. Is it really worth giving up young assets for a short-term push? What happens if it backfires? These are fair concerns. The Warriors have walked this tightrope. Before the D'Angelo Russell trade, the Durant experiment, even the Chris Paul acquisition raised eyebrows. But what separates Golden State from other franchises is their willingness to take risks. Calculated, high-upside risks. And Paul George, despite the questions, remains one of the most complete players in the game. When healthy, he's a matchup. Nightmare! A wing who can guard 1 through 4, hit step-back threes, and lead a second unit. If the goal is to maximize the final years of Steph's brilliance, then standing pat isn't the answer. George might not be perfect, but he's close enough. And if he buys into the Warriors culture, the unselfishness, the ball movement, the defensive grit, he could thrive in ways we haven't seen before. And let's not forget the off-court impact. Paul George in Golden State isn't just a basketball story. It's a business move. The Bay Area market, the global fan base, the jersey sales, the content, the brand. Adding another all-star to the mix reinvigorates the franchise's identity, especially with Klay gone. Suddenly, you've got a new narrative, the Warriors 2.0, the Steph and PG era. It sells itself. And George, for his part, is media savvy. He's got his podcast, his endorsements, and a personality that resonates. Playing in San Francisco in that Chase Center spotlight would elevate his profile even more. It's a mutually beneficial partnership. And for the league, it's box office. Every Warriors game becomes must-watch TV, national broadcasts, rivalries reignited, the kind of storyline that fuels the NBA content machine for months. This isn't just about basketball. It's about relevance, momentum, buzz. And right now, no potential move creates more buzz than Paul George to the Warriors. Whether it happens or not, the mere idea is electrifying. And in today's NBA, sometimes the idea is enough to start a movement. But here's the twist. What if this is all a smokescreen? What if the Warriors are using the Paul George rumor as leverage for something else? Maybe it's a way to pressure another team into making a move. Maybe it's part of a larger strategy involving a 3-team trade. The NBA is full of smoke and mirrors during the offseason. Agents leak information, front offices posture, and sometimes the most talked about rumor is just a distraction. Still, the George to Warriors idea won't go away. It keeps coming back, louder, bolder, more believable. The dots keep connecting, and for Warriors fans, it's becoming harder not to believe. The thought of Steph Curry flanked by Paul George in a must-win playoff game is too tempting to ignore. It's the kind of hypothetical that makes you refresh Twitter 10 times an hour. And until Paul George publicly commits to staying in LA or signs elsewhere, this rumor isn't dying. If anything, it's picking up steam. So we wait, we speculate, and we keep our ears open. Because in the NBA, the biggest moves often come when we least expect them. And this one? It feels close, too close. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.